And we have some news that's coming at this point in time. It continues to be the state of Karnataka with the Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar reiterating, I am not in a hurry. That's what he said. Don't want anything. Party will take a call. No community angle. Congress is my community. When asked questions about the caste problem that is now really the dilemma before the leadership of the Congress party in the national capital, says I may go to Delhi to meet MPs. Clarifies on Mumbai visit. I met my friend is what DKS has said. Listen in.
Congress is my community. They, of course, I may belong to one community. They may like me. That is different. My love is there to all sections of the society. It may be a backward class, it may be a scheduled caste, it may be a minorities, everyone. Even Wakaligas are backward class people. Delhi, I may go. I have lot of work in Delhi because Parliament is coming. I have to meet all the Parliament members.
Winter session.
No, winter session, because they have to take forward some of our projects and our, with God grace, with Almighty, and the court has given us justice. So I have to discuss on this Mekedat issue. Myself, my CM is discussing. We have to go, we have to discuss. There is a Mekejoda issue. I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I'm not hurrying anything. My party will take at the right time. Definitely, I'll go to Delhi. Because Delhi is our temple. Delhi is our temple. We have to go there. All of us are without Delhi. Nothing can go. Congress party is a party with a big history, and always Delhi will guide us. We may rule here. Ultimately, we have a policy contained to the whatever the policies of the Congress party and the constitution. We have to work by that. So we will go to Delhi whenever they call me and the party leaders, including my chief minister. We will go there.
All right, so you heard from the Deputy Chief Minister talking about the fact that he isn't in a hurry, indicating that perhaps all is well, but also suggesting that decisions will be taken by the Congress High Command in Delhi. Delhi is where we have to go. Congress party has a deep history is what he says. However, talks about the fact that there is nothing that is in fact, or rather community or caste is not an angle that is being looked at as far as change in the top post in the state of Karnataka is concerned. Remember, there's been fair amount of speculation on whether the Congress is going to be in a position, Anaga, to in fact ask Siddaramaiah to step down from the OBC community. They wouldn't want to take that risk. Of course, DKS is from the an influential leader from the Vocaliga community, and that also is a question really before the leadership, isn't it?
Well, that's right, Sneha. In fact, today we had a lot of Vocaliga seers meet with D.K. Shivkumar at his residence and offer their support. In fact, one of the very strong Vocaliga seers, one of the seers who's very influential in their community, made a statement saying that D.K. Shivkumar was promised for power sharing 2.5 years back, and now that time has come, and therefore he must be given the position that he rightfully deserves, is what this particular Vocaliga seer said. In fact, he also said that D.K. Shivkumar is one such leader who has been like a troubleshooter for Congress. Any time of Congress crisis, D.K. Shivkumar has sold his assets and provided funds, mobilized funds, and been there for the party like a guardian, like a knight, and therefore he deserves to become the next chief minister. One must live up to the word that was given to him, is what the Vocaliga seer said. That said, it's also not that easy to let go of Siddaramaiah because he represents an OBC community. One can even ask Rahul Gandhi as to, when you preach so much about the welfare of OBCs, how is it okay that you ask a tall veteran OBC leader to step down abruptly from his chief minister position? Is a question that Rahul Gandhi will be asked, and he will have to, tackle that question. So it's not really going to be that easy for Congress High Command. In fact, one can say that this is the toughest challenge, the toughest test, a toughest decision that Congress has to take to choose between D.K. Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah, and the time has finally arrived.
Anaga, I also want to ask you, what about the meetings in the national capital? You've spoken about the fact that I may go to Delhi, but is there anything that you're picking up about the leadership of the party, the national leadership giving audience to Siddaramaiah or DKS or possibly together? I don't know. What is it that you're learning?
Well, in fact, what we are learning is that there is a meeting that's scheduled between Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, who is the AICC president, to discuss about Karnataka's developments. So it's after this meeting will we really know will DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah be summoned to Delhi. In fact, so far there have not been any summons to Delhi, and once Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge holds that meeting, it's only then when the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister will fly out to Delhi. Let's also remember that both these tall leaders have their points ready, pitching themselves to become the next Chief Minister of Karnataka. And whoever manages to convince Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge will end up becoming the next Chief Minister. So both these leaders are ready for the Chief Minister battle. They have their points prepared. So as soon as the bullet comes from Congress High Command, both these leaders will fly out to Delhi and position themselves and pitch themselves as to why they should become the next Chief Minister.
Anaga, I'm going to leave it there for the moment. My colleague, they're getting in those details as far as the rumblings within Karnataka Congress is concerned. Of course, it's pretty evident that there will be a change within the party and within the leadership, and it's now for the Congress High Command, so to speak, to take that decision on what next and who would be leading the state of Karnataka. All right, it's time now to go across to my colleague Ava Bakaya of Business Today with all updates, as always, of the markets. Over to you, Ava.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Market Closing on our collab show between Business Today and India Today TV. 3 o'clock, counting down to market closing. Let's take a look at what have been some of the key developments in trade today. After yesterday's record highs and bouts of profit booking, markets are now trading in a narrow range. Sensex flat near 85,750, while the Nifty is steady around 26,200. Selective buying in pharma, metal and auto stocks, while oil and gas shares continue to trade weak. Higher Appliances India looking for 1,000 crore rupee infusion from its parent, likely to support plans for a third manufacturing plant in South India. The company has overtaken Whirlpool India in sales, emerging as the third largest consumer electronics player. India awaits big Q2 GDP print. Finance Ministry sees 7 to 7.5% growth. Moody's pegs 6.8%, while SBI projects a stronger 7.5 to 8%. A wide forecast spread as markets look for clues ahead of the RBI's next policy review. US President Donald Trump hints at a major tax overhaul, saying his administration may slash or even completely eliminate income tax over the next few years. Speaking to US military personnel on a video call, Trump said that tariff revenues are soaring and may allow the government to phase out income tax entirely. Right, we've been trending at these all-time high levels, of course, and waiting to see if the markets continue to build on that momentum. So far, in slightly wait-and-watch mode, or just taking a breather, so to speak. Sensex now down about 200 points from the day's high, and 26,211 is where we're trading. It's pretty decent in the sense that yesterday as well, we hit about 26, almost 2650, but closed below that. So we're hovering just pretty much around that same range. We're not yet moving back up to the next leg and the 26,300 mark. That's what we're going to be watching out for next. So why are we seeing a little bit of a cool off on the indices today and no major support coming in? Clearly, some amount of profit booking, of course. That's one of the key factors that we are tracking for you right now. We've also got the market waiting out for the GDP footprint. That number is expected very soon. The rupee has declined slightly. Crude is edging up a little bit higher. These are some of the other macro factors at play. So markets clearly eyeing some kind of data trigger points to understand whether or not, or how quickly really to move ahead from here. Abhishek Vasumalik joining us, co-founder and fund manager at Shriram Managers. Abhishek, good afternoon. Let's get your take on the market trajectory so far.
Good afternoon to you and all your viewers. I think, the market is at an all-time high. It's taking a sort of pause here before we move on higher. At least that's the way I feel, that we are poised to move higher in the next few months. Let's see how it plays out.
All right. Well, on a longer term, of course, we've had global brokerages come back with an eye on 30,000 now on the Nifty. How soon do you think, you feel perhaps as an annual target, at least that's perfectly doable? How soon do you see us starting to really run for those kind of levels?
Ava, your voice is, getting a bit garbled. I'm not sure.
Abhishek, let's try and fix that, and we'll come back to you in just a moment. In the meanwhile, let's bring you up to speed with, what's really happening with Trump. Another shocker, but an announcement which could be welcome in India as well. The US president has proposed ending income tax completely over the next couple of years. He says it's because of the huge money that the US is making from tariffs. Trump has earlier promised to use revenue from tariffs to compensate farmers hit by the tariff wars, as well as give out $2,000 dividends to all American citizens, including high-income individuals.
And they made the deals. I mean, they respect us, but they pay us, as an example, Japan $650 billion, South Korea $350 billion, European Union $950 billion, and they are building plants now in the United States because they don't want to pay tariffs. So this is one of the biggest things economically that's never happened. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And over the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large.
All right, Shell also joining us this afternoon. Shell, we're taking a look at the index, and we're still just kind of breathing steady right now. Markets are waiting those GDP numbers, of course, a little bit of profit booking coming in, but incredibly quiet, that fairly stiff resistance at moving ahead from these levels, or at least in these few days.
Yeah, Abha, I think there is also an RBI press conference at 5 p.m. We really don't know what the agenda for that one is. So the market is a little circumspect ahead of GDP numbers, ahead of the RBI press conference, and of course, ahead of the weekend of what has been a very fine November for many, many indices. So this is a consolidation phase. The Nifty gained 1.9% in November. The Bank Nifty is up 3.5%, and hold your breath, the Nifty IT index is up about 4.5-5%. So it's just digestion of these gains that is happening, and Monday we'll tighten our seat belts for the auto numbers. Therefore, a bit of a rest. There's absolutely no volume in the market. The top traded counter is 1,200 crores. This was something that we used to hit in the first 5-6 hours of trade. So it's all quiet.
All right, I want to turn our attention to some of the new age companies. Swiggy in the news, laying out a roadmap for a profitable venture. In conversation with our correspondent Karishma, CEO Rohit Kapoor breaks down how the company plans to rein in quick commerce losses and execute a long-term strategy built for scale. He also explains why the new labor codes offer a positive framework for gig workers and how Swiggy is restructuring to align with them.
There are two things. One is that on the Instamart business, we have in our earnings call guided to a contribution margin positive business by June of next year, right? Mm-hmm. Having said that, look, the opportunity is so large. The quick commerce overall opportunity is several times that of food, right? So while profitability is definitely in a very important objective and at the contribution margin level initially, but overall I think just becoming a very sizable player in that market is very rewarding. There are very few businesses and TAMs available which are the size of quick commerce in today's India, and so I think we consider fortunate to be able to have a brand as strong as Instamart in there and really growing at the rate it's growing.
Okay, great. One last question, and this is, of course, to the recent announcement, also the labor codes that have recently rolled out for social security of gig workers. How do you see Swiggy adapting to the cost structure? Does it seem fine to go ahead with your strategies already in place?
So, Karishma, two things. One, this was anticipated, right? It was about to come at some point, right? And the drafts and etc. were being worked upon. Second, I think it is I think personally it's a very positive move, right? And that's our organizational response as well, because it clearly recognizes gig workers. It also provides a clear framework on how companies in India should operate towards that, right? So it takes out a lot of ambiguity away, right? And that's always a good thing. I think for businesses, having certainty of policy is a very important dimension And that, I think, it scores highly on that count. On the economics, we are still waiting for the final details to come through, right? And the teams are working through it, but I don't think it will be a significant impact in any which way. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got Swiggy, of course, talking about creating a profitable future. We have brokerage views coming in on 197 that have been very positive. Lenskart has been moving on the back of earnings coming around. Grow has managed to make up some of those initial, short selling right post the listing. So lots of action across the board on some of these new age counters. Shell, Lenskart now has cooled off. It's just earlier in the day it was up about 2-3%. 197's been looking strong, and Nika's been looking strong too.
Abha, I think the size of the opportunity plus a lot of overseas money is flowing into many of these stocks. I'll give you an example. I was speaking to a fund manager and he said something really interesting. He said, when an overseas fund manager comes to India, he wants to see stocks which and businesses which they don't have in America, or they don't have in Europe, and the internet space is the biggest one. That's the reason, money is moving away from steel stocks, from cement stocks, from IT stocks, and moving into this kind of a market where the size of the opportunity is so large. There is so much of digital acceptance, and of course, there's tons of money to be made because the market size is so huge. That's why you see so much of moves happening on stocks like Paytm, PB Fintech, Car Trade, Swiggy, Eternal, so many of them. These are rare businesses, the size of which are phenomenal.
Absolutely. By the way, the Car Trade Car Deco deal is off. That was in the papers, of course, today, so not much. Now, Abhishek, welcome back. Counting down to close, 15 minutes to go. It's been really quiet today, but we've all been talking about where the next leg of the rally is going to come from. We've been talking about autos and banks, of course, the consumption boost, also value to be found, or some kind of value buying that's starting to come back in IT, which has had a pretty solid week. What are you looking at?
In fact, I was just about to say, IT, because if you look at, one of the big beneficiaries, at least of sentiment, if and when we get the US-India tariff deal done, I think there was an announcement from the India side today that it's likely to happen before the end of the year. So if that goes through, then IT could see some kind of, run up. So in the short term, IT again, it's been beaten down. It's not being talked about. So that could be a very interesting sector to play quick turnaround in the near future.
All right. And within IT, Abhishek, where would you be looking?
I think within IT, the mid-cap space looks much better compared to the large-cap services. I think a lot of these mid-cap service-oriented companies have been putting out good numbers as well. So I would focus in the mid-cap IT space.
In fact, I think that's the query we had from Sheetal Singh in Mumbai, who wrote in about IT stocks. She's also asking, will they feel the heat of Trump's new migration comments? Do you see any impact coming in there, Abhishek?
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the way these services businesses are structured, they've been de-risking from the, from the on-site, sending a lot of people from here, etc. That model, that's been, sort of been de-risked at least for a decade now. So now a lot of hiring happens in the US. I don't see this as a major challenge.
Okay. Pratyush from Delhi has also written in asking if it's a good idea to invest in the upcoming Meesho IPO. I don't know how closely you've been tracking the IPO buzz, Abhishek, but let me get a take from you on this.
I think Meesho again is a very interesting business. They've been doing really well, and they are serving a very large segment, which is the non-traditional, where we usually don't look at, right? So they are serving the tier 2, tier 3 cities, the more value conscious buyers, and that by far is a much larger market. So Meesho actually is a very interesting play in this overall internet service business. So definitely worth a look. Whether you want to buy it or not, it's a different ball game based on valuations, your holding period, etc. But definitely a business worth looking at.
Okay. Shell, A lot of retail investors are not super thrilled about the current rally, which we've been celebrating, because they feel it still hasn't been wide enough to, have a lot of the mid caps and small caps participating. And we have seen that lag, of course, in the kind of momentum we've seen in the broader markets. What do you feel is set to change there? What kind of indication can we give to the retail investor who's still feeling unsatisfied?
I think, Abha, that's a wonderful question, and it's answered in two parts. Ahead of the budget, you should see a strong rally between December and February. Now we've already moved substantially as far as blue chips are concerned. So the difference that is there between the earnings discount and the stock price, that should narrow fairly rapidly. And since the liquidity cycle is improving, and typically mid caps and small caps move up once the cycle improves, I think just give it 2 or 3 months and you'll see a very, very decent up move coming into quality mid caps, where second and third quarter earnings have been fairly substantial. And that's, how patience pays off. Nothing for the last 15, 18 months, but good news in the pipeline.
Okay, so that's true. I mean, in the budget, we may, of course, hear another spate of reforms. I think that's what the market's going to be expecting. We've seen, of course, both the GST reform, we've had the rare earth policy come through. So perhaps some expectation that a lot of the other sectors and smaller pockets of the market will also stand to benefit, whether it's exports, of course, that will also benefit post the trade deal, but, whether it's hospitality or, some of the other more niche sectors, they'll all stand to kind of see if something will come out of the budget there. Banking and financials, Abhishek, we can't not talk about it because that's where a lot of the action has been as well. Across the board, private banks, NBFCs, PSUs, what are you watching?
I'm watching all of these because obviously, the results have been good. The management commentary has been good. The price action has been good. So, the entire space looks interesting. The only, point of caution is that, everyone on the street seems to be very bullish. So, you have to be a little bit cautious when everyone turns bullish. If I look at, again, in the overall banking space, I think PSU banks offer a better value right now compared to at least the mid-tier private banks. The top-tier private banks like the HDFC and the Kotak, ICICI, they probably, again, maybe a good bet. But again, with them, you cannot expect very large, moves or growth coming through. But overall, I think the larger PSU banks offer a pretty good opportunity at this point in time.
Okay. Well, 10 minutes to go, not much of action, nothing much that's moved, so to say. Shell, what are you spotting?
Well, Abha, I'm just spotting stocks like transformers and rectifiers. They are top losers, down 10% this week. I'm actually looking at, bottom fishing in this kind of a market. So if you look at the top losers list for the week gone by, you'll see some very interesting names coming in. Transformers and rectifiers down about 11%. Chennai Petro down 10%. Whirlpool losing 8.5% on a weekly basis. Deepak Nitrite and MRPL also slipping. So these are stocks which are of good quality, and you should be trying to buy the base building in this one. No point chasing record highs. We've done that much often, but the real money is made when you buy a stock well below its 200-day moving average and hope for it to rise above its 50. That's where the meat of the matter lies.
All right. M&M is back in the green today. Kalyan Jewelers is up 2%. I'm just looking at the BSE 500 names. Hind Zinc is looking good today. We've got some of the textile counters. Something must be brewing there again. It could be the trade buzz news, Shell, because Vardhaman is up 2.5%. Wellspun Living is up very sharply. It's up about 8-10% right now. Then we've got a mixed bag on pharma. SRF is up 3.5% right now. So that one's also looking pretty active at this point. I won't look at the 52-week highs like you just said, but one can spot a lot of these other interesting names in the broader markets right now. And we've talked about 197. That, of course, continues to look strong. Varun, beverages is up about 3%. Like I said, a mixed bag in pharma. We've got Ipca Labs, for instance, that's moving. Lemon Tree is up 2.5% today as well. And we've been tracking some of those hospitality names. So some amount of action coming in across the board, in the wider markets on some of these names as well. Shall any of these stand out to you as stocks that perhaps we've been seeing consistent moves in, or any surprises?
Varun Beverages, Abha, for the very same reason that it's trading much below its all-time highs. We've seen 680 somewhere in July last year, and now somewhere like 480. So this is where, sensible people hunt. You buy margin of safety, and you hope for the best to happen. That's a stock that I'm looking at. Of course, I have no positions in it, but I'm looking at it, and I have zero hope of a trade deal. We've seen this happening over the last 6 months. Every weekend, every day, you get this thing that it's happening tomorrow. So I have, unless it happens, it is not happening. So I don't look at textile stocks. I don't look at exporters. You've known to me to be a very optimistic person, but I have zero faith.
So it's true, because this time last week, Shell said that it's definitely going to be out, and we are still waiting for the finality of it. But
Abha, there is one interesting thought I had. You flagged off President Donald Trump talking about reducing income tax because tariff inflows are so high. We are paying income tax here, and now we are paying income tax on behalf of Americans also via tariffs. What could be worse?
I absolutely agree with you. It's actually no laughing matter. It's pretty serious, and Trump is really at it again. Let's see how this unfolds. We do know that he tends to go back and forth on some of his policy disruptions. Let's also take a look in terms of levels. One of the things we know is definitely going to happen next week are those auto sales numbers. So Abhishek, let's get some levels to track from you, whether it's an Ashok Leyland or a Hero or an Eicher. What are we looking at next week?
So, I personally think that the two-wheeler space actually is very interesting. We've got good monsoons. All the numbers that has come, so far, the festive sales for Bajaj, for Hero, for TVS, they've all been really good. So, I'm hopeful about the two-wheeler numbers, and let's see how the, other passenger vehicle car numbers come through. Maruti, Hyundai also probably expected to do well.
Okay, so bullish on auto, of course. Also on the mid-cap and small-cap index, Abhishek, do you think you could give us some kind of a target or a level to watch out for when it comes to some of the, broader market indices?
I think, small caps haven't been performing all that well when compared to Nifty. I think mid caps, I have to check the numbers, but top of the mind, I don't have them with me.
Sure.
Mid caps look, significantly better than small caps.
Okay, so mid-cap still the safer bet, one would say. Overall, today, the mid-cap index is also flat. Across the board, actually, it's pretty much flat, but most of the indices are in the red, apart from a little bit of respite on auto and banks, and also a little bit on the IPO index. We've got, pretty much across the board, but it's just completely flat shell. It's not like we've got any kind of massive cuts coming in anywhere.
Absolutely, Abha. The bulls are defending 26,200. That's a fairly decent way to close. I was hoping a close above 26 to 22.50. That would have been a fabulous end to the week and end to November. Well, you can't have everything. But I'd just like to mention one line as far as auto is concerned. Maruti will be the new hero. And Hero, of course, will be a better hero. So these are two very strong tailwinds that are coming in four-wheeler and two-wheeler spaces, and the numbers will bear us out somewhere in the first week of December. This is a very strong tailwind that we are tracking, especially in Maruti and Hero Motors. Abha.
Okay, just to sort of shake it up a bit, Shell, but we've seen a mixed bag from some of, for example, the hotel stocks, media stocks. I know you don't like textiles, some of the other broader market consumer plays. Defense continues. If we had to look, however, at some of the more niche pockets, which one would you bet on? Just to play havoc for a moment.
Defense.
And
that's simply because Mr. Putin is here from Russia. Lots of transactions are going to be announced over the next 2-3 days or so. And more importantly, there's a statement that's just come from the defense secretary.
Yeah.
He says that the defense ministry will work for a hike of up to 20% in the next budget. That one line says it all. And most of these stocks have corrected from their all-time highs. This is something that I'm looking with, how should I say, with glee and rubbing my hands. Bated breath.
All right. Abhishek, let's get some of your topics. And I know we've been talking to you about, some of the movers and shakers in the market, but let's get your strategy from you before we let you go today.
I think I'll agree with Shell. I think defense is an area which the government has shown intent in terms of spending. We're seeing geopolitical challenges. So defense is one area. The second area is shipping. I think that's another area where there is a lot of focus from the government on shipbuilding, on dredging, on overall building up the maritime ecosystem in India. But it's a much longer term play. It's not going to be short term. Short to medium term, I think defense is a very, very strong area to look at.
Thank you for joining us, Abhishek. A quiet market. We're about to close any minute now. We'll pull up the index for you. Very, very quiet today. But like I said, the bulls are resisting any kind of sell-off. They're just holding steady. Very key factors to watch out for. The RBI meet expected, of course, to continue in terms of a dovish commentary going forward on rate cuts. We've got the trade deal in the balance. We've got also the Fed rate cut coming up. We have the GDP numbers expected. Huge, wide range from 6 to 7.5% in terms of various brokerages and what they're thinking that number is going to be. But lots of indicative data points that could, of course, help to boost the markets further from here. We're already trending at those high levels. We hit them this week. We saw a really fab week on sectors like IT, for instance. A lot of value buying coming in there. A lot of 52-week highs across the board. Strong brokerage commentaries. FI buying has come back into the markets as well. And a lot of global brokerages are taking a relook at India. So the momentum seems to be taking shape, definitely coming in line, is in place for a year-end rally. We're just got about a month to go. But looking forward to seeing some of the triggers next week to see how the market can edge forward from here and perhaps see a new high even closer than the last one. So that's what it's looking like on close this Friday. Shell, thanks so much for joining us as well. We leave it there for now. Thanks so much for watching.
For 25 glorious years, Business Today Golf has defined the legacy of corporate golfing, where CXOs and champions come together to compete, connect, and celebrate excellence. And legends from sports and business alike have walked these fairways.
Corporate golf is very good, which I feel very happy.
All the best to BT because they've done a great job.
Enjoy the BT golf. It's more of fun, more of enjoyment.
And it's always nice to come to a golf course, you meet so many different people.
As we celebrate over 25 years of legacy, we tee off for a new chapter on November 29th in Hyderabad.
M is meaning, a beginning chosen with intent. M is mindful, a pause that brings her back to herself. M is momentum, a single act that sets things in motion. M is the meeting of her many selves, modern, mindful, magnetic, shaping her milestones. Some milestones begin with a quiet promise to herself. With M Circle, she's not just earning, she's building. Some milestones are about staying strong. With M Circle, her health is our priority. Some milestones are about moving forward. With M Circle, her growth has the momentum it deserves.
M Circle is about priorities.
M Circle is about power.
M Circle is about partnership.
M Circle by AU Small Finance Bank, for every me at every milestone.
Welcome to the world's best airline, where the journey begins before you fly, where lounges are a destination in themselves, and your world is always within reach. A place where you're looked after, and the smallest details bring the biggest smiles. This is Qatar Airways, the world's best for a record 9th time.
At Echo, we have been developing biotechnology for decades. The result is high-performance sneakers that enhance your natural foot movement. To do this, our engineers scan thousands of athletes' feet, developing technology that aligns your foot with nature's design. The result is high-performance sneakers that enhance your natural foot movement.
From how the markets move today to what's setting the stage for tomorrow. From tariffs to taxes, mutual funds to your daily stock queries. Join me as I decode the biggest wealth-creating ideas